Hey Gabby, how are you doing?
Great. How are you, Hannah?
Good. Hanging in there. How's your quarantine going?
Good. It's been good. We've been hanging in there. So,
Yeah, I read that you love to bake. Have you been doing a lot of that? 'Cause a lot of people have been baking.
yes, I have been trying to do that. I need to try to bake some bread. That's like pretty much the only thing I haven't tried at this point. But yeah, it's been going good.
Yeah, you got to get yourself on a sourdough starter, and then you'll be really on it.
Girl, I'm on that sourdough bread at Panera already, and I need to take a quits because it's spilling me out. So, no
There,
kidding.
I feel that.
Yeah.
So your debut album, Goldmine, is coming out on June 19th. So what's it been like kind of doing all this prep and stuff from home, like in quarantine?
It's been cool. It's been different because I have, never done this before. Nothing like this has ever happened. I've been performing and going about music since I was 11, and this is very different. A pandemic has never struck. And so it's been really fun. There's still ways to connect with fans. I've been texting fans, and they helped me do, the release of the album track listing, and they drew posters. And so it's been fun. There's still ways to definitely connect to fans while, being relaxed and more chilled at home. So
That's awesome. And you've also done a bunch of like TV performances and stuff from home and like been on like live streams. So how's that been to connect in that kind of new way? Because you're off the road right now.
right. Yeah, it's been cool. Yeah, we did a Instagram live stream. We've done a few, and it's funny because my sister and I would always do Facebook live streams like every Sunday for a year before I did American Idol. It was like every Sunday we would always do all kinds of stuff, and I hadn't done it in a while in years, and so it was really cool to be able to get back to it, and it just felt like, old times with lives. I love doing them. They're so fun, so it was cool.
Oh, so you're already a pro at all this online stuff. Okay.
No, I'm not a pro. I've just done it a few times.
Yeah. So how excited are you to have like your debut album out in the world? That's so awesome.
Oh gosh, yes. These are things that you like are so excited, and like it sounds cliche, but you do dream about in a way from when you're at a young age. Like you dream about having number one songs like you hear on the radio, and you dream about having just like an album that you got to put together and be creative on. And I wrote on 12 of the 13 songs, and I had a large hand in creative on this, and it's just, somebody's body of work. And so it's been really, really cool to put my all into it.
Definitely. And so you've been working on it for, has it been 2 years kind of since you?
Yes. Yes. I have been writing for 2 years. Ever since I came off of American Idol, I really started diving into the Nashville community of songwriters. And fortunately, I have Ross Copperman and Zach Kale producing this album, as well as they wrote on songs on the album. And so I was fortunate to be in the room with some wonderful people that have helped, come out with this album. So I'm excited about it.
Definitely. And I love that you wrote on so many of them. Some of my favorite ones are the love songs that you wrote. I bet you had your husband in mind. What did he think of those when he first heard them?
He's always very flattered. He cries for everything, which is very sweet. It's very sweet. It's very darling of him. He's a sweetheart. And so he literally walked into one of the writing sessions to come pick me up from one of them that is not released yet, but is on the album, and started crying like in the room. And I was like, oh my baby. But he loves the songs, and, being married and being in love, I think it influences how you write in so many different ways. And it definitely did for this album. Yeah.
Definitely. Was it kind of difficult or not hard at all to write some of the, I guess not love songs since you're in a happy marriage?
Sure. I wrote that in 2018. So we just started dating that year, and it was a bit easier to channel, things in the past that went wrong in high school. And so that's kind of where I channeled that song and a few other songs. Most of the songs on the album are lovely. They're not as harsh as I hope. I hope it's pretty vengeful. And so, yeah, I don't know. It was just really fun to write. And I think, fingers crossed, people will like it. So.
Definitely. And one of my other favorite aspects of it is you have a few songs on there about your faith. And those are really beautiful. And how important was it to you to include those?
Yeah, I was really excited to have a song like that on the album. That songs and music right now and genres are all just bleeding together. And so I wanted to have an album that wasn't just one specific thing, because nobody really likes one specific thing nowadays. Everything's like a little pop, country, R&B. You got some like rap country now. So with his album, I thought it'd be cool that it's like a multi-genre album, and I get to include all, parts of me and all things that I want to write about and all things that I believe in. And again, it's just like a body of work for somebody of what makes you in a way of what you're saying about yourself. And so it was really cool. I love Shane and Shane. I've been listening to them for years. They're my favorite Christian artists. So to be able to have them on a song was really cool.
Yeah, and you kind of just touched on this, but what would you hope that fans kind of learn about you as an artist from listening to the album?
I don't know if it's a specific thing on the album that I want people to learn, because the songs are so different. Every song is so different. There's a song that talks about the Lord, and then there's a song that talks about, love towards your whatever boyfriend, spouse. So there's a bunch of different things. I'm just hoping people can mainly relate to the songs. That's what you hope for with your songs when you write them, that people can relate to them, and then you can hear them singing them at shows, and it helps people and it changes their lives. And I'm just really hoping that, especially with the Christian songs, that people will be led to the Lord and to lean on him through anything that goes wrong, especially like a time like this, when things are so uncertain and we are out of control. Like, we don't have control of any of that. So I'm just hoping to glorify the Lord with all of my music and songs going forward. So
for sure, I love that message. And so you were on American Idol 2 years ago, and I wonder, how have you evolved kind of as an artist since then? Like, was it tough to find your sound, like what you wanted to say, or did you always know, like, this is me?
I kind of always knew from a young age what my sound, what I wanted it to be, just because I had done performing vigorously 6 years before I did American Idol. That's something that a lot of people don't know. That's one of the things that, like, one of the cons with being on, a television show, that people normally assume, it was like an overnight thing, or like, oh, they went on the show and then they just blew up. And that's not the case at all.
Not just.
And so, yes, there was, so there were 6 years of hard work put into it before. And I went through a lot of trial and error with, like, my dad and my sister. That's who would always travel on the road with me. My dad was like my management, my label in one. And we went through a lot of trial and error during those 6 years. So I figured out my sound, thankfully, at a young age. And so, coming into the music industry seriously after American Idol, it was easier in the way of knowing what I wanted to sound like and where I wanted my sound to be.
Definitely. Who were some of those artists that you listened to growing up that kind of influenced you?
Gosh, I was influenced by mainly like 3 genres of music growing up. I think you get a lot of influence from what your parents play around you. Yeah. And so in the car, my dad was the one that played the R&B and the classic rock, like 70s, 80s rock. My mom, I listened to more of country when I was around her and in the car. And so some artists, gosh, I love Michael Jackson. But for singing, I really gravitated firstly towards R&B singers because I grew up singing in a church before I did anything. And so I loved Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, Etta James, just women that could really sing, like to where they could sing better than the record without the bells and whistles on it. I just really respected women that could sing like that. And then when it turned to country, I loved classic country. I liked Marty Robbins and George Strait and Johnny Cash and Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn. I mean, Dolly, of course, you can't not love Dolly Parton. And so there was a lot of influences in different ways. And then I said Michael Jackson because, performing-wise, love Michael Jackson and Van Halen and Shania Twain. There's just so many influences for me in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. I get that. My dad played like 70s, 80s rock all the time. So
yeah. Yes.
So your album is coming out just after you became the first woman to top the charts with your debut single since 2017, which is an amazing accomplishment. So how did that feel to kind of hit that milestone?
Say that again. Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Your album's coming out just after you became the first woman since 2017. You topped the charts with your debut single, which is crazy that it took that long, but also awesome that you got to do that. So how did that feel?
Yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. It was crazy. I mean, there's not really one emotion that you can really put into it when you get your first number one. I think it is just so special. It's almost like hearing like your song for the first time on the radio, but all the more. It's just so crazy because when I was younger, I would just, want number ones. As songs, you want number ones, and you want albums, and you want to be nominated for awards and all kinds of stuff. And for this to all be happening in what feels like a short amount of time has been has been really, really cool. And I'm honored that, you know, a debut single, my first single to country radio, went #1. And before that was Carly Pierce and then Kelsey Ballerini. And so it's good footsteps that I think I'm following in with these girls.
Sure. And you are nominated for awards. You got that ACM nomination coming up later this year, which is
know. Crazy. I can't believe it. Oh gosh, I can't even think about it. It's crazy. Yeah.
You got a couple more months before you got to think about it. So no worries.
Yeah, I know, which I'm actually glad about because people get to hear more music before it were to come. Like the album, we would have had it already and the album wouldn't have come out. So I'm excited for people to hear more music other than just, you know, I hope so.
Definitely. So were you kind of surprised by the success of that song at all?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I did not know when we wrote that song, and we wrote on Halloween of 2018. And I did not know that it was going to be what it was, you know, normally people don't come out with some huge song until a few songs down the road or like a little later on in a career. And so it was an absolute blessing, and it was absolutely amazing to just see it have such an immediate positive reaction from the beginning, without a label behind me, without anything behind me, just me and my management. And it's been crazy to watch for sure.
It's a great song.
Thank you.
Love Do you feel any pressure kind of because of that massive success?
Yes, but it's on a good way. It's not in a bad way. And I'm actually really excited. You know, I just feel like, you know, when the spotlight finally, when it comes to you, it's like, okay, this is your time. You got to step up to it. You got to challenge yourself. And I've always liked to challenge myself from a very young age with songs and all kinds of things. I like that kind of pressure. And so I'm very proud of this album, and I'm very excited for people to hear it. And I don't know, I'm just very proud of it, and I'm very excited really for people to hear it because I worked very hard on writing it the past 2 years, and there were some amazing people a part of it in Nashville. So
yeah, having heard it, I can say it's very good, and y'all will be impressed when you do hear it in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Related, once everything COVID has settled down, what is the first thing that you're looking forward to doing?
Oh gosh. First thing I'm looking forward to doing, probably playing a show, because I'm itching to play a show. I know it sounds very cliche, but it's like, you know, when you do it for so long and then it's like absent completely, it's like, whoa, like it just flips everything upside down. And this time has actually been really good to spend time with family, but I also, you know, always love performing. So I'm excited to get back on the road and you know, hear people singing your songs and stuff. It's always the best feeling ever.